John, talk to me about a lot of your projects that you've been doing over the last 2 years. Now, main things I want to talk about is you just had a movie called Abide With Me that came out here in the LDS Film Festival, and you've also done a lot of things that have just been online. Let's start going all the way back with just to the Taylor Swift video. First off, how did you come up with this idea, and what happened when you made it?
Gotcha. I've been doing a lot of features several years in a row, and most of them weren't making their money back. And so I felt horrible not being able to pay my investors back. And so the fun of filmmaking was starting to go away, where it was all business-wise. And I really wanted to do something that was fun and different, but I wanted to involve my kids as well. My daughter loves Taylor Swift. I really like her. So we talked about doing a video together. And we spent probably 3 or 4 days filming, put it together, and I think right now it's close to 5 million views on YouTube.
I think it might be a little higher than that too. And when I saw that, it was just keeps on going up by the thousands every single day. I believe you also had a chance to meet Taylor Swift.
We did, yeah. We ended up, when she came to concert here, my daughter and I got backstage passes and we were able to meet her. But the coolest part was my daughter, she's like, ask her, Dad, ask her. So I said, did you happen to see the video that we did? And Taylor was like, oh, that's why you look so familiar. It looks so professional. And she gave my daughter a hug again. So that part was really cool for my daughter.
And you've also done, I've noticed you've been doing a lot of videos based on books, and they're really popular books for young readers. Recently just did a web series on the Hunger Games. Talk to me a little bit about why you decided to make this web series.
It all started when we did the Katniss and Rue video about a year ago. And now when I read the book, my wife had recommended it to me, but I'm like, that sounds violent, I don't want to read it.
And that's from the first Hunger Games book, just so you know.
Yeah,
okay.
The first one. And my wife said, read it, so I read it, and I knew that Lionsgate was turning it into a film. And when I read the scene with Katniss and Rue, I was running that morning listening to some Linkin Park, and immediately I thought of my friend Danielle Chucker, and I thought she'd be perfect for the role. So the ultimate goal was, I knew my friend had a contact at Lionsgate, so I thought I'll put it on YouTube, have him send it to the contact, and hopefully she'll get a read for the part. But then overnight, it had thousands and thousands of views, so she ended up being able to go out and read for Gary Ross for the role of Katniss. And so that part was a mission accomplished, is to get her. Then I also wanted to work with Savannah Lewis. I hadn't worked with her yet, and I really wanted to work with her. And so like these YouTube videos is mostly like getting together with my friends and then working with people who I want to work with that I think are talented, and I want to see if we can get along.
And a lot of the times when you're making these, you're making them with $0 budgets. But they look like they could be big budget cinema pictures because they just look so sharp. What are some of the tricks you're using to make the production quality look so good?
I have to write everything according to who I have as an actor and what we have access to. And so, like, the hardest part with the Katniss and Rue video was finding a bow and an arrow. So that actually took the longest part, because everything else I knew we had props for already. But that part took forever. It took like 3 weeks to find one. And then, of course, it didn't match what the book said, and so we got a bunch of negative emails about how it didn't match. But it's writing to what you have access to, and then also keeping things exterior mostly, because then you don't have to bring in lights. And a small crew. And then the guys that I work with, they all really know what they're doing. And so, like, the guys who are doing the lighting, the guys who are doing the sound. I mean, it's basically just 5 of us most of the time. And then our makeup artist comes in too. So it works out just having a group of people that really know what they're doing.
And when you're not making these short films, you're partnering up with other people to work on their projects as well. And you do primarily a lot of editing work to help pay a lot of the bills.
Yeah.
Can you talk about some of the projects that you can discuss that you're working on or have worked on in the last year or so?
Editing-wise, I've done 2 polishes on 2 Christian films. One was Stand Strong, that's at this festival. And then the same filmmaker is really talented. They're doing one called Uphill Battle. So I was able to work on that one too. And then we just did a feature that I'm cutting now called Zombie, which is a zombie movie in Afghanistan.
And I hear that might be going under a name change here soon.
Possibly. We'll see what happens. And then also Christmas Oranges when I'm editing. And then Keith Merrill's new film, 12 Dogs of Christmas, I'll be cutting starting in February. So
you're keeping really busy. So it sounds like just as an editor alone, you're finding plenty of work happening here in Utah. What do you think would help the state drive more business to Utah and keep people like yourself employed as a more full-time and more lucrative career?
That's tricky. I think the hardest part is to make movies that are going to make money. And so, like with Zombie, we kept the budget really low, and the filmmakers were able to secure distribution beforehand. So I think if we really concentrate as filmmakers as making movies that will make money, but at the same time making projects that we want to do, and then by doing so, investors will continue to put money into projects and we'll be able to keep on making movies. Hi, this is John Lyde of Mainstay Productions. This past year, we've had a lot of fun working on our projects.
Take right now, for instance. I was racing for my life. My one goal was to escape.
Every movement you make sends signals out to everything around you, betraying not only your location, but your intentions.
Rue, where are you?
We've come up with something a little different. We're working on a project about fairies. We're having a novel, a screenplay, and a graphic novel created. And eventually, we'll make this into a feature-length film. I recently worked with Chris Hansen, a special effects makeup artist on a zombie film called Osambi. I told Chris I wanted to do a movie about fairies for a while, and he said he wanted to do a movie about evil fairies. So we started brainstorming ideas and came up with Absinthe and Amethyst, a story of good and evil fairies, where a young woman named Amethyst struggles to find acceptance and love while going through emotional and physical changes. What's different about Amethyst is that her changes include her discovering that she's a fairy. This story will redefine the fairy tale in a way never seen before. I spoke with Shyla Adante about writing the project. Shyla wrote our Finnick and Annie Hunger Games web series, and I love how she was able to capture the feelings and emotions of teenagers and thought she'd be a perfect fit for Absinthe and Amethyst. The script is almost finished, and I'm really happy with how it's coming together. For the graphic novel, we did a photo shoot with some of my favorite people, Danielle Chukrin, James Gaisford, and my daughter Juliet. We did some fairy makeup tests to see what would look the best. My buddy Adam Abram, who's an artist, is going to be illustrating the graphic novel. I've known Adam almost my whole life and have always been impressed by his work. Adam is manipulating the photos we took into what we'll be using for the graphic novel. Once the graphic novel is completed, we will use it to help secure additional cast and funding for the film. To get this graphic novel made, we need your help. We've appreciated your support and feedback on our work and are very excited to bring you something unique and different. We look forward to working with you on this project.